Hi and welcome to this week's energy forecast. I am Rachel Thompson Phillips, the creator of the BU Oracle cards, and they will be the cards that we'll be using to be able to understand how to be able to work with the energy, be able to understand what's coming up for everyone on a collective consciousness level, and to be able to discover how we can work with the energy that reveals itself. So this week is for November the 5th through to November the 11th. Now you will see the cards, I'm going to have to remember which way to point, see it's the opposite way, right here for the cards for this week. And this week's overall theme is around learning to believe in yourself. So let's see how that unfolds. The very first card, which is the card of courage. What happens when this card comes up for Monday and Tuesday, it's around being able to, it says, you have the courage of a lion, the eyes of a lion embody absolute focus, belief, and clarity. So this card is coming up because it's reminding you as we move towards the new moon, which will be on November the 7th for London and New York, and November the 8th for Australia. So what happens as we start moving towards a new moon, we start having things starting to come up to the surface. This is a new moon in Scorpio, and it's going to be very, very potent. What it is going to be happening in this week's new moon is around, you always hear me say that there is a moment where our soul brings things to the surface to finally allow us to let things go. What makes this new moon really potent is that you're going to get an opportunity to look at some of those choices, decisions, lifestyle, every area of your life, and be able to make a very, very clear and concise decision whether you actually want to continue some of the habits, behaviors, beliefs, and values to see if they're a match with you anymore. Now, we may find that these come through polar opposites. Sometimes that's how I find some of these things reveal themselves. Like all of a sudden you may feel like you're really, really frustrated about something. And there in the gold of that frustration is revealed to you what is it that you really want to let go. Rather than getting caught up in the frustration itself, the magic and the message is in the lesson that's been shared with you. And this is how the new moon can be working leading up to that beautiful fruition on the 7th and the 8th of November. So if you find that there is these certain things that are coming up, that you've reached that FU moment where you're no longer going to tolerate something, you're no longer going to let a belief or anything that is coming to the surface consume you anymore in a negative undertone, this is this beautiful defining moment where the card of courage comes up, because it's that defining moment where you believe in yourself, that you know that you deserve better, or you know that you deserve more, or that you know that you deserve to not have that undercurrent of emotional baggage just pulling you and dragging you down at every opportunity. There's a Facebook post that goes out sometimes every time, and this sort of energy comes in that always reminds me, and it has this beautiful picture of a butterfly trying to fly up the stairs whilst it's got a string attached to it with a rock attached at the bottom of it. And that's that beautiful symbology of how can you fly towards being able to live in the most majestic form of yourself while you weighted down with all this emotional baggage. This is what this card of courage is revealing to you, is that there is this inner roar, and it's this inner quiet that almost, it's not an external scream and yell at others, it's that internal, it'll feel almost like a frustration which is coming to the surface as an indication to say, hey, this is what we're trying to clear. This is what's important to be able to let go of. So if we can take that little step back and be able to see what are some of the lessons that are being presented to you at the moment, that is where the magic holds for you to give you insight into what possibly you can work towards clearing and letting go as we lead to this new moon. The amazing thing, I love how Oracle cards just beautifully unfold. The card for Wednesday through till Friday is the card of dreams, and this card says, don't give up just before you have achieved your desired goal. Now, as you will notice, with the card of courage coming up, with the frustrations, the things that are clearing, as soon as we decide to surrender and let go of them, And that's just deciding within your own self that enough is enough. You don't need to go into this internal anger or rage or justification or any moment like that. It is just that complete moment where you just go, I'm done. I am so done with this. I'm not visiting this anymore because I've been here. I know the outcome. I know the result. And I just don't want this anymore. When we finally surrender to that, that is where the beauty unfolds, because that opens up the window of opportunity that reveals itself when we work with the new moon, that is why I love that the card of dreams reveals itself. Now we can find, as we're leading up to the end of this year, that we can reach that point where we just want to give up. But there is something deep within you that is calling you to just give it one more go. Just try one more time. And that's all it's going to take, is just collect your energy, bring in that self-belief, and just give it one more try. And this is where, when you're not weighted down with that emotional baggage, you now have this freedom in which to show up and be yourself, because you're no longer being, I don't want to use the word controlled, but you're not having these puppet strings of those fears and those doubts and all of that emotional baggage contributing to the decisions you make. You've actually decided to wipe the slate clean and press the reset button. And that's exactly what happens with a new moon, is that you get to just press that reset button to just go, you know what, I am going to just give it that one more go. I am going to believe in myself until such time as I've achieved my dream. Now, there's something that has just popped into my consciousness, so I really want to be able to share this with you whenever I get these kind of little drop-in insights that come in when I do the weekly forecast. Is that the thing that is popping up for me is to be more conscientious of your time factor. And let me just share with you a little bit more. I remember when I was creating the oracle cards, and in my mind I was like, you know what, I know I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to work really, really hard. And I made my time frame thinking it would be about, anywhere from about maximum 6 months to about 10 months maximum. And I had that very, very clear in my mind. And as things unfolded, it actually did take me 15 months to be able to achieve that dream. But in that time between, say, the 6 and the 15 months, there was moments where I would drop into a space and go, I'm not doing enough. I'm not being enough. Why isn't this unfolding? Why isn't this happening? And I would have moments where I would question if I was on the right track, if everything was taking so long. Like, is this really what I was supposed to be doing? And so there had to be moments where I just pushed that aside and just expanded that time frame, because sometimes when we make our time frame so very small, especially when you are out there chasing dreams, and some of these dreams is the very first time you've ever done them, so we don't always have the ability to understand how long something's actually going to take. So sometimes it's not that we want to give up, it's the fact that we have shrunk our time frames down so small and made them so rigid that we think that we're not on the right track. And that's something that I really wanted to share with you. Just maybe have a look and give yourself that little bit of extra flexibility to be able to achieve something, because as you're moving through the different stages to be able to make your dreams unfold, there is all this new learning that needs to be developed before you can go to the next stage. So it's not just a matter of chasing those dreams, it's about learning the new beliefs, learning the new steps that it takes to make that step be accomplished. All of that needs to be learned along the way. And this is sometimes where we can make things so very, very rigid in our time frame. So that's something that I really wanted to come up. Just give yourself a breather. If you've put 12 months on a time frame, give yourself an extra 3 months. If you finish it earlier, then that is amazing. But what happens is when we give ourselves that a little bit of extended time, we have that moment to breathe. We have that moment to just not feel like we need to run around and move into that hustle mindset. We actually allow, when we have that freedom of space that we give ourselves, we actually allow ourselves to move into a space where we come from alignment, flow, fun, adventure, and bring that wonderment of you know, you just don't know how it's going to unfold, but you're going to just enjoy the process. How much of the time we do as humans where we don't give ourselves permission to enjoy this journey. And this, I feel, is something that is very, very important that needs to be considered over this coming week and the coming month, between when we set the intentions for our new moon through to the full moon of the next month, is that flexibility to just really enjoy yourself through this time. You're not supposed to be able to go and chase your dreams and then get to the end and feel so incredibly exhausted you can't even enjoy them. You're supposed to be able to enjoy the journey as you go along. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, there's going to be moments where we feel a little bit overwhelmed, but it's okay, because you're going to give yourself that flexibility. And the beautiful thing is the card that comes for Saturday and Sunday, which follows after the new moon of chasing your dream, is giving us the indication of exactly how to be able to work with the energy of the new moon, and also how to work with our dreams. And this card is the card of focus. So this card is saying that it's really important to be able to have absolute clarity around how you want to be able to achieve these dreams. If you have these steps written down, it helps you to, one, be able to tick them off so that you can celebrate the beautiful little wins along the way. But it also reminds you of what's the next step. And what's the next step? Because when you understand what the next step is, you understand what part of you needs to be brought to that step. And that's where, like, if there's new learning that needs to be learned in that step to achieve something, the part of yourself that may need to show up is that curiosity and that fun and that adventure. But when there's another part of yourself, when you're doing a different step and you already have the knowledge, that's that part that you can bring in, that focus, that determination, that motivation, because you know exactly what to do. There's nothing getting in your way from doing it. So remember, with each step, there's a different part of yourself that needs to be able to show up. And this is by how writing things down can definitely help us. What I am going to do is that I know that usually a lot of the time, like, I'm a big buff around the moons and where it's in, it's a cycle when I offer workbooks. This time I really want to be able to offer a suggestion to be able to help to work with the next 30 days. So you'll find down below that there will be a link for you to be able to click, and I've created just a little PDF. It's a 30-day planner. And all I'd love for you to be able to do is to be able to, you know, once you've got a real clear, concise idea of what it's going to take to be able to achieve these dreams, every day I just want you to be able to come off and, you know, you can put little points along, you know, where you want to be able to hit those milestones in the next 30 days. But all I want for you to be able to do is to be able to tick off that day or colour it in to remind yourself that you have taken one more step to being able to achieve that dream. And as you start going through the calendar and you start seeing all those days being ticked off, you start to see that you are actually working towards those dreams. And what it's also going to do is it's going to give you a clear idea as to when, as I mentioned before, when we do things for the very first time, sometimes we can make our timelines too short. What this is going to do is it's also going to be able to reveal to you how long does it take for you to actually be able to achieve whatever is inside of that step, so that the next time you need to go and do it, rather than thinking, oh, maybe it's only 2 days and you actually discover it's 7 days, the next time you go to do it, you are going to know that it's actually going to take you 7 days to do something. So there's going to be multiple levels of learning, but the most important thing is that I find that when we achieve our dreams, sometimes we can focus on what we haven't accomplished, and we never ever take that opportunity to be able to actually go in and consider everything that you have done and celebrate those tiny wins. This calendar that I've created is for you to be able to celebrate every win, for you to be able to feel motivated and driven, have that clear, concise direction of knowing where you're going to achieve those dreams, and to be able to celebrate every time you do something that is taking a step towards your dream, and is going to, as you mark it off, is also going to activate that inner belief within your own self. So I hope that this has given you some really great tips to be able to go away and work with this amazing new moon and the energy of this coming week. Please feel free to share this video and share the love. And I hope you all have an incredible, beautiful new moon either on the November the 7th or November the 8th, depending on where you are. So much love to you all. Take care and have a fabulous week.